Hey, good morning, English 10ers, and welcome to week number 4 of distance learning. I can't believe we're already starting 4 weeks of this stuff. You guys are doing a great job. You're getting stuff in, you're getting things done. I've been really, really impressed with the engagement that you guys have shown. Keep that up, okay? And again, if you have some missing things, get them in anytime. Okay, if you want to retake any quizzes, you can just let me know what quiz you want to retake or which quizzes, and I will get that set up for you. Okay. All right. So with this all in mind, with our distance learning, we've been at it for a while. Over here on the left-hand side is this update. So if you click on updates, what's going to happen is you're going to have 3 poll questions that I'd like you to answer. Okay, and I know it looks like more than that, but when you click on it, it'll just have 3 poll questions. The first one is to rate your distance learning experience in English 10. Piece of cake, just right, or yikes, this is stressing me out. The next one is approximately how much time are you spending on English 10 work each day? 20 minutes or less a day, 20 to 30 minutes a day, or more than 30 minutes a day. And again, keep in mind that it's each day of the week. So 4 to 5 days, whatever, in a 5-day week, how much time are you spending? All right. And then the last question is, please rate the weekly workload of English 10. Easy, I'm able to get all assigned work done well before due dates. Moderate, I'm able to get all assigned work done during the week. Or difficult, I struggle to get all assigned work done during the week. Okay, so answer those 3 questions just so I can get a gauge of how I'm doing and how the pacing of the class is going. And I mean, so far, just what I've seen, I think in my opinion, things are going really well. I think you guys are getting stuff in, and but I want to hear back from you. Okay, let's take a quick look at the calendar for this week. Not a whole lot is changing. We're not really doing a whole lot different. We're starting a new chapter obviously this week, and so here we are, April 20th to the 24th, and we're starting chapter 4 of Mice and Men. You're going to have the guided reading questions and notes assignment. The quiz will be open the entire week, so if you get that stuff done, you want to take the quiz anytime this week, it is open. You don't have to wait till Friday to do that. Just make sure you get all your stuff done by Friday, and that's where you're done with chapter 4. You're over halfway done with Of Mice and Men. And I think that's what we're moving on to next. Yes, let's go down into the chapter 4 assignment folder and take a look at that. All right, chapter 4, here we go. So again, you're going to have a completion requirement. First is that you have to click in here and watch the instructional video first. Once you do that, all the assignments will all open up to you. Okay? So once you complete the instructional video, and again, it's so important that you watch this just to get information and so you know what's going on, and I talk about the chapter and all that good stuff, and so get the information first so you can have success with the assignments later. As normal, again, my suggestion, I highly suggest that you do the chapter 4 notes assignment first. That gives you background information on the chapter before reading it. Okay, there's 5 questions in there. Should take you like, gosh, maybe 10 minutes to do. All right, so make sure you do that notes assignment first. Then you have the guided reading. And again, a few of you are doing both of these. You don't have to do that. Just pick one or the other. This one, just the text, chapter 4 text and guided reading, it's got the chapter. You read the chapter on your iPad, or I would suggest bringing it to Notability and reading it there. And then you have the multiple choice questions to answer. Or do the Ed puzzle. Watch the video and listen to it, read it, and answer the embedded questions in the Ed puzzle. Don't do both. Just pick one of those to do. Okay? And then, of course, you have the chapter 4 quiz. This week's quiz is all multiple choice. I think there's one question that has 5 matching. Otherwise, it's all multiple choice, and there are 2 short answer questions. Okay? 2 short answer questions. Again, bring the chapter from here, the PDF chapter, into Notability. All right. And then when you go to take the quiz, use the chapter, open it up in Notability, and flip back and forth. If you don't know the answer to one of the questions, go find it in the chapter, look it up, and get it. Okay? So use the chapter. It's like an open book quiz. I want you to do that, all right? Okay, let's talk about chapter 4. So now this chapter, I've titled it, there's no title to it, but I've titled it the Misfits chapter. And the reason I've titled it that is because this chapter deals with the 4 misfits of the story. You have Crooks, the black stable hand. You have Candy, the old crippled guy. Okay, you have Lenny, who's got a mental disability, and then you have Curly's wife, who's the only female in the chapter, and she is, treated bad by her husband. Okay, so this is the Misfits chapter. They all come together. All right, so it's like all the other chapters, they take place in one spot, in one scene. It's, excuse me, it starts off with description, like Steinbeck does so beautifully. But this scene in chapter 4, the scene is in Crook's room, okay, out in the stable with the horses. Crooks lives by himself. He's the lone black guy. He lives by himself. Now, all the other guys, Slim and Carlson and George, they all go into town. Okay, they're going to go have some drinks or whatever, and they're going to go into town. Lenny sees a light on in Crooks's room, and so Lenny goes over there. Now, Crooks kind of takes offense to this because Crooks isn't allowed in the bunkhouse, and so he kind of thinks, well, why are you coming here? You're not allowed here either. So he kind of gets real hostile towards Lenny. He kind of plants a seed into Lenny's head. What if George goes to town and doesn't come back? And Lenny gets really upset at this, really angry at this. Crooks calms him down. Candy then stops over. Candy stops over, and from looking at the previous chapter, Candy, George, and Lenny all 3 of them have teamed up on the Dream Farm, right? And so Candy comes in, and he's really excited, right? He's really excited about this Dream Farm, and he comes in and he starts talking to Lenny about it. Well, Crooks overhears it, and Crooks is like, "Is this a real thing? Is this possible?" And Crooks kind of says, "Man, I'd really like in on that. I'd work, to earn my keep and earn my stay. To have something." Again, this idea, the idea of the Dream Farm is a huge theme in this story. The American dream, right? And these guys being able to have their own place, be their own bosses, live their own life, as we talked about last chapter, it's freedom. They don't have that. Okay, even though we're in the land of the free, they don't have that. All right, so the 3 of them are talking about the Dream Farm. Boom, all of a sudden Curly's wife shows up. And Curly's wife comes in and starts talking about basically, well, she comes in and she says, it looks like they left all the weak ones behind. Meaning Crooks, Candy, and Lenny. But she fits right in there. Okay, and then her being there also, now there's a power. There's kind of a power, not a power struggle, but kind of a hierarchy of power. Who has power out of the 4 misfits? Well, it's Curly's wife. Okay, number 1, she's white. Number 2, she's Curly's wife, and she has power over all 3 of these guys. All right, so keep that in mind as you read the chapter. So Curly's wife brings up a couple of different things. She talks about her own dreams and how they weren't realized. She wanted to be an actress. And then she talks about one of the major themes of this entire book is loneliness. Okay? All these characters are lonely people, except George and Lenny, because they're the anomaly, right? They're the exception because they have each other, right? They have each other. They're not lonely. But everybody else is just going through life extremely lonely. Now, yeah, Curly's wife is married to Curly, but Curly doesn't pay any attention to her, and she's just extremely lonely. And that's probably why she acts out the way she does. That's why she flirts. That's why she acts a little provocative. She's just trying to get attention. Okay? She's just looking for any attention. All right. So throughout all this, the guys kind of take, like, what are you doing here? Blah blah blah. And kind of Crooks, being black, tells her to leave his room. Well, Curly's wife takes offense to this, and she says that she could have him lynched in a heartbeat, something to that effect. Okay, so now this idea of an extremely violent act of lynching comes up. And that's really where Curly's wife demonstrates and wields the power that she has, because all these guys, as soon as she says that, they just cower down. They just kind of back down to her, right? Now, normally if we were in real school, we'd be spending a couple of days on this idea of lynching. I have this great video that talks about kind of our history of really our extremely dark history of lynching in America, where we United with this idea of lynching and slavery back in those times, we killed around 4,000 to 5,000 people, and it wasn't just kill; it was maim, it was brutalize, it was just to dehumanize blacks and slaves, and it's a very dark part of our history. So the lynching threat comes up, and they kind of, all the guys come back at this point, and Curly's wife leaves, and Candy leaves, and George comes in, and gets Lenny out of there, because he's like, Lenny, you're not supposed to be in Crooks's room. And George is cool about it. He doesn't make a big deal out of it, but basically says we're not supposed to be here. So at this point, right at the end of the chapter, Crooks then backs out of being a part of the Dream Farm, because he just doesn't think it's going to happen. He's seen too many guys come in with the same dream and too many guys leave not achieving the dream. So he's like, no, it ain't going to happen. I don't want any part of it. All right. That's chapter 4 in a nutshell. Now, back in chapter 3, we did talk, even back to chapter 2, we talked about which characters are bringing conflict into this story. Now, right away, we knew that Curly was going to bring conflict in and pick a fight with Lenny, which he did, which did not end good for Curly. He got his hand crushed. Now, Curly's wife is the other one that we kind of established as she's bringing conflict into the story, and she kind of brings a little bit in here this chapter, but her big conflict and her big kind of effect that she has in the overall story and on our characters, George and Lenny, doesn't happen until chapter 5. All right, that's all I have for you for chapter 4. One last thing, I am going to be planning for chapter 6 that I want to do a live Zoom, or not Zoom, I want to do a live Google Meet and have however many of you want to get together online, face to face, and we read chapter 6 together as a class. Okay, and both classes. I'd love to have both classes. As many of you that can meet up and do it. We'd read the chapter together, get it done in one sitting. It's a short chapter, but it's a huge chapter. It's such a big chapter and so important, and the things that happen to it, it's so much better when it's done live. So more information on that will come out in the next week. Yeah, next week or so. So that's all I got for you. All right, keep it up, English 10. You guys are doing a great job again, and I really love seeing the engagement that I've seen. So, and remember, as always, okay, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your friends. All right, have a good week. Bye.